millions of people, and not just in Sydney. I mean, don't you love the media? It's like New South Wales is only Sydney. It happened on the Central Coast. It happened on the South Coast. It happened on the Mid-North Coast. It happened in Tamworth. It happened in the Hunter Valley. It happened in Burke. It happened in Broken Hill. The lockdowns ended. Now, for many, the first thing they did was to go and get their hair done. For some, it was, I've got to go get the nails done. For others, the first thing they wanted to do was to exercise indoors. Why? Fair enough, I suppose. For others, I've got to go to the shops. I've got to go to the shops, including people who actually queued today for a sneakers store. Imagine that. You haven't been able to really do much for about 3 months, about 16 weeks, right? Best part of 4 months. First thing you're going to do, I'm buying a new pair of sneakers. Anyway, each to your own. That's what freedom does. I love that some kids were able to go to wildlife parks and zoos. But most importantly, what I loved about today was that people saw their friends, that people saw their families, that people got the chance to elbow and then eventually go, yeah, come here. It was a lovely day. It was a reminder about what so many people take for granted. And as I said last night, I don't want to rub it into what's happening in Victoria right now. So you're not going to see social media posts of me going, how awesome is freedom? Because there are people in our society who don't have it. And they don't have it because of government. It is not government's decision to give us freedom. It is our birthright as Australians, and it is the right of every citizen who is lucky enough to join this club to be free. And if nothing else, that just means the ability to see each other. My heart bleeds and breaks for Victoria because the experience that I have gone through for a few months really hurt. The idea of it happening 6 times over, more than anywhere else in the world, is a disgrace. Now, yes, there is a weather difference between Victoria and Queensland. There's nothing magical about the way they deal with COVID in Queensland. They essentially, in terms of their government, the people are awesome. They punted the responsibility for Australians returning home to New South Wales and then stiffed them on the bill for the hotel quarantine. Their weather means that you don't have the types of congregations indoors that happen in places like Melbourne, where for the winter months it is bloody cold. And as it was last year, winter was a hellscape. Now, all resources that the New South Wales government used to get themselves to today, they have to now offer to Victoria to make sure that it can get out as soon as possible. Just as when there is a bushfire, people from interstate offer help to each other, that help must now be totally focused on Victoria. The joy of today that is experienced by New South Wales is something that was a long time coming. But unlike the leaders of other states who sit back and say, well, at least we're not the leper people, my suggestion is that if you are a step higher on the ladder, now is the time to take care of the person who is in trouble. Most importantly, if you have mates in Victoria, pick up the freaking phone. Talk to them. Really talk to them. Lockdown breaks spirits, it breaks businesses, and it has broken our country. The freedoms that millions enjoyed today is something that we should never forget and do everything we can to make sure that the consequences of our decisions at the ballot box mean we get to continue to enjoy those freedoms. That's what's always at stake. It's what we fight about, it's what we fire up about, and it's what I'm going to talk about on this show all day, every day. But again, to my mates in Victoria, this sucks. It is outrageous that 10,000 people can go to photo opportunities. That's what they are, because the global reputation of Melbourne is as the world's most locked down city. But they're going to have 10,000 people standing there as props to make it look like Melbourne had reopened. But if the vaccine targets are right, you won't be able to go to the pub to watch the Melbourne Cup. You certainly won't have a significant number of people being able to do so at the Melbourne Cup. We'll talk tonight about how rotten to the core the Labor Party is in Victoria and its consequences federally. But right now, the pressure must be on every state in the country to do everything it can to get Victoria out of lockdown tomorrow or the next day or the next day. not wait back for weeks and weeks and weeks and just think as long as we stop the flights from Melbourne, somehow we're beating the Rona. You're not. You're beating up on your fellow Australian.